Sign up for a year and pay less than 71 pesos per month. Visit tmt.ph/premium to get your free 30 days of the Manila Times Premium.
Okay, so good morning everyone. It's July 11, 2022 and welcome once again to the Manila Times presents Asia Leaders Forum in Logistics, BPO, Retail and Entrepreneurship. Please join us till the end of the show as we have five leaders from different industries who are expert in their field. All right, so please join us till the end of the show. Well, this global health crisis made us all in halt, but the leaders that we know are up for the challenge. They are innovating, working harder than before, and still taking risks. That's being an entrepreneur, not stopping even a global health crisis. Welcome to the Manila Times again, and this is actually Grace Bondad Nicolas, your host for today. For this July 11, 2022, we will be joined by five leaders from different industries, and they will present and give us their views with regards to the challenges during this pandemic on how they reset about their company and success even with challenges. Our discussions for today. Logistics is of vital importance in the Philippines because it enables the movement of goods and products. Without it, the economy would fall into ruin. Thus, it is important to shape logistics management in the Philippines in order for this sector to be of service to the country. The business process outsourcing or BPO sector is one of the fastest growing industries in the Philippines. The world's BPO capital has steadily flourished through the decades, contributing significantly to the country's growth, domestic product, and the improvement of other economical aspects. How important is the retail industry in our economy? The retail industry buys goods from the supplier in large quantities to provide the consumers and make a profit. This could include anything from consumer product and delivery of products to consumers. The change in politics and policy sometimes affects domestic and international firms. Retailers are the important link between manufacturers and customers. They are the final point of sales and are invaluable to the entire distribution channel. They in fact provide services to both the wholesalers and the consumers. And the entrepreneurship is why important in the Philippines. Entrepreneurship takes the economy and the society to the state of progress and prosperity. New businesses can create new jobs and therefore will increase the employment rate of the nation. This will include generate income to the entirety of the nation. So let me start to introduce our five speakers, all right, that is going to be joining us today, and we're very excited actually to introduce them. Let's start with Gerry Santos. This managing director with demonstrated expertise in company expansion goals and objectives is no other than Mr. Freeze himself. Gerry Santos, or Mr. Freeze Tube Ice Incorporated, the country's ice leading manufacturer in the country, invested in startup company and works with business partners in building successful F&B concepts and directly acclaimed franchise for Frost 5 Incorporated. Gerard Gerry J. Santos is the Philippines Ice King for a reason. He is not only the master of his trade, an empire he grew from his father's business and business partner to celebrities. He is also, and more importantly, an entrepreneur with a heart of gold. So let's all welcome Mr. Gerry Santos of Mr. Freeze Tube Ice. Hello, Gerry. How are you?
Hello, Grace. Thank you for having me again.
Of course, and congratulations, of course, to you because you won the SME Company of the Year. This were under the Asia Leaders Award. So how's everything so far?
Thank you so much. I'm more inspired now again for gaining another award from Asia Leaders. So pag ganun, usually na-inspire ka to work more and expand more your business.
That's right, that's right. And later on, you're going to be our first presenter. So stay tuned, everyone. Okay, so our next speaker, he's an Agora awardee for excellence in entrepreneurship and an accredited Go Negosyo mentor for his work in Mercato Central, a food business incubator where he is recently won from different organizations the following: SME Company of the Year, SME Excellence in Innovation, and the SME Winner in Business Model Innovation. He's also co-founder of EnterPH, a market entry consulting firm for foreign offshoring outsourcing businesses. For solo entrepreneurship, he's a Hall of Famer and a 3-time Best Male MC of the Aliw Awards and a 3-time National Book Awards finalists who has written 6 best-selling books. For the academe, he holds a double degree in applied economics and business management from De La Salle University in 1995, where he graduated with a Student Leadership Award. He was a writing fellow for both University of the Philippines and Silliman University National Writing Workshops, and a master's degree in real estate development from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology in 2001. He was the first Asian to deliver the valedictory speech at MIT Center for Real Estate. Wow! And he currently hosts the Bright Ideas on Bloomberg Philippines One News, a show that focuses on the local tech startup scene, Philippine Realty TV on CNN Philippines. Again, everyone, let's all welcome RJ Ledesma.
Good morning, Grace, and thank you so much to the Asia Leaders Forum and of course the Manila Times, and to all of my esteemed panelists, especially yung idols ko na si Gerry, Santos, pati si Marjorey, Rubio. So nice to be here right now to share my own journey of entrepreneurship during this program. Hopefully, may matututunan yung mga nakikinig dito ngayon. I'd love to learn as much from you as you will learn from me this morning.
Of course, we're going to looking forward actually for your presentation to talk about SMEs, to talk about your company. All right, so see you later, RJ.
See you.
Our next speaker, logistics process management has always been a difficult undertaking looking at the global economy. There is a significant demand for good logistics. It is the key assistant in commerce and helps to build the business. Almost every business, regardless of industry, requires the sale and purchasing of materials, goods, and other items that must be delivered to a certain location. The truth is that the demand for logistics is expanding as a result of e-commerce. People are busy and prefer to shop online for convenience and safety. The e-commerce world has revolutionized and created a big impact on the logistics industry. However, how do logistics professionals handle the growing demand from customers and their need for delivery? The Rubios conceive a risky yet promising way of thinking about how they can make a difference in the field of logistics, from providing seamless delivery methods to everyone. It builds and requires new ways of thinking about employees and customers too. Let's all welcome Marjorey Rubio, the co-founder of Dex Logistics Solution Incorporated.
Hello, good morning, Miss Grace. Good morning, everyone, to those who are watching us on live. And I'm glad to be again with RJ and Gerry. We've been together for some of the events, and I'm so glad to be part of this for today.
Yes, thank you so much, March. And again, congratulations also. You attended a lot of events for SMEs and of course received also a lot of awards with your success in logistics.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm just glad that at this time we are given, the chance to compete as well.
That's right. And I love also the CSR or Corporate Social Responsibilities Program. All right. So our next speaker is from 24/7 AI Philippines, one of the country's major movers and shakers in customer experience software and services, with the president and country manager Rienzie Ramirez is not stopping, contributing or continuing strict as a multi-awarded business process outsourcing company. Rienzie has been in the BPO industry since 2001. He joined the local BPO in 2001 right out of school and worked his way up to operations director in 3 years. Wow. After that, he joined the largest global BPO in 2003 and was part of the pioneer team and the first head of operations to lead the largest U.S. telecommunications client of the company. 3 years later, he had an opportunity to start up 24/7 AI and has since grown the company to where they are today. Congratulations! Formerly trained with a BA in quantitative economics, 24/7 AI President and Country Manager Rienzie Ramirez also possesses 2 postgraduate degrees, a Master in Industrial Economics and an MBA from the Asian Institute of Management in the Philippines. Let's all welcome Mr. Rienzie Ramirez of 24/7 AI. How are you, Rienzie? Okay, so while we're waiting for Rienzie, we would like, of course, to give thanks also to our sponsors. So don't forget to visit Casa Alegria Tagaytay and Cafe Lupe Antipolo. So have an enjoyment, bring your family with you, and relax. All right? So, Rienzie, are you there already? Okay, so while we're waiting for Rienzie, let's start first with our first speaker. Okay, so of course, with our team from the Manila Times, let's show the video of Mr. Gerry Santos.
Namin, paano makitungo sa mga kliyente namin. Lahat yung tinuro ng father ko. Kumbaga walang shortcut. Ang unang ice plant ko, 15-ton plant, tinayo ko sa Quezon City. Ang first customer ko nun is my dad. Kumukuha lang siya sa ibang planta. Sabi ko, Dad, magtatayo na ako ng planta. Sa akin ka na kumuha. Kung ano yung presyo na kinukuha mo sa planta, yun ang ibibigay ko sa'yo.
Mr. Freeze is a family business. Lahat kami may part para maging successful ay ma-maintain namin yung company.
Ang natutunan namin sa father namin ay to value time. Kung anong kaya mong gawin ngayon, gawin mo na today kasi kinabukasan, di mo talaga alam paano pwede mangyari.
Kaya ngayon naman, nung nandito na ako at yung mga anak ko katulong ko na sa negosyo, ini-impart ko rin sa kanila yung mga natutunan ko sa father ko na maging humble sa lahat ng tao, nagmimingle sila sa mga customers namin, hindi sila namimili ng mga taong kausap. Kaya doon, sa tingin ko, ang naging success ng Mr. Freeze is because of that.
Kindness is how you'll have more impact on people's lives.
Sinasabi ko sa kanila, yung paa nila laging dapat nakatapak sa lupa.
Kaya dito sa Mr. Freeze, yung one of our company goals is actually, as much as possible, to help our local communities, especially the aspiring ICE entrepreneurs na matulungan namin sila sa negosyo nila.
Dito sa Mr. Freeze, ang mga tao namin, ang mga kliyente namin parang pamilya. Yung mga tao ko na dating maid, ngayon manager na ng planta, tinulungan namin, tinuruan namin, pinag-aral namin. Tapos ang mga tao namin dito, meron kaming regular seminars para sa kanila para mas magkaroon sila ng sense of professionalism. During pandemic, maraming nagsara. Maraming taong nawala ng trabaho. Pero ang Mr. Freeze, hindi kami huminto. Hindi kami nagsara kasi alam namin maraming nakikinabang dito sa negosyo namin. Maraming nagpasalamat sa atin dahil hindi sila nawala ng hanap buhay. Alam niyo naman, itong pandemic, marami talagang nahirapan. At up to now, yung mga taong tinulungan namin during pandemic, lumago pa sila. At itong 2021, ilo-launch namin yung asenso sa Mr. Freeze. Ito ay magbibigay kami ng loan sa mga distributors namin para makabili sila ng mga bagong motor, mga bagong sidecar na magagamit nila sa negosyo nila para ma-motivate sila lalo na mapalago yung negosyo nila. Itong Mr. Freeze, ngayon, involved na yung mga anak ko, si Janina saka si Ghie. So gusto ko, train ko sila ngayon para maituloy nila yung sinimulan ko na livelihood dito sa mga tao na to. At yung i-maintain nila na ang Mr. Freeze, ang main objective namin is livelihood. Kasi itong negosyo namin is a lifetime business na yun niya ang dream ko to pass it from generations to generation.
All right, Gerry, that's a very nice video. All right, so as I watch it, it's like it's a family business now, right? The Mr. Freeze Tube Eye. So so it started with your father. Can you tell us more about it?
Actually, my dad used to be an ice distributor before. Don't have any ice plant. So I worked with him for 13 years after graduating from college. And then after 13 years of working with him, I resigned. So, syempre, I just want to have a business of my own. So I went to buy and sell of cars. I got a loan from a bank. I loaned my first house and then started with car trading. So, but the year 2005, I realized that my dad was still getting from ice plants. So I realized I have to go back where I started. I built my first 15 ice plant facility for my dad, where Mr. Freeze was born. So sabi ko sa dad ko, same price with the plant that you're getting, I'll be giving you a same price. So actually, that time, he was my ice distributor. He was my first ice distributor. Doon nag-start yung Mr. Freeze. So when I had, siyempre every year, started 2005, and every year, nag-build ako ng another plant. When I had six mini ice plants by the year 2011, sabi ko sa sarili ko, happiness is contentment. Sabi ko, why don't I share this to few individuals? I saw a potential market in Malabon where there are a lot of tricycle drivers. I talked to them how much they are earning for a day. They told me that they're earning 150 pesos lang for 24 hours. So I introduced this tube eye. Sabi ko, I'll be giving you 10 sacks with an income of 550 pesos per sack. And sabi nila, saan namin dadalhin? Sabi nila. So sabi ko, I told them to sell it to sari-sari stores and some canteens. Sa Malabon, napakadaming tao. So these sari-sari stores, I taught them how to sell the ice. It's just 5 pesos for half a kilo of ice. So nung I gave them styrofoams, nung nakita ko yung very successful yung idea ko of mini livelihood for these people, by the year 2012, MVP Meralco was looking for a luminary, first luminary awardee, and that was the start of yung parang naging kilala yung Mr. Freeze. I got my first award, first Meralco luminary under SME from Meralco. So yun yung start. 2012, I got an award, and then I was more inspired to expand. Nakilala tayo, I got loans from the bank, and yun. The rest is history. Grace, yun na yung naging backbone ng Mr. Freeze. Is 80% we're teaching a lot of people how to market their ice in their community. Yun.
Okay, so I saw also na involved yung daughter mo now and also your son, di ba? So how involved they are? Sino dito? COO ba? Financial auditor? What's their roles?
Actually, ganito naging role ng son and daughter ko. When they graduated from college, my son worked muna with the HP company, and my daughter also worked with the other company. I did not invite them to join Mr. Freeze. Sabi ko, mag-work muna kayo sa iba. So sabi ko, when you are ready, just tell me na I will hire you. So luckily, my son worked with the other company for 5 years, and then he told me that I want to work with you. Ayoko kasi by force. So I trained him for many years also, and my daughter. So my son now is the president of Mr. Freeze, handling the operations of the business. And then my daughter is the vice president for admin. So up to now, meron kami communication. Na-improve nila yung Mr. Freeze. I trained them well because as I've told in the video, this business is a business that you can pass on from generation to generation.
That's right, that's right. So talagang there's a legacy, di ba? It started with your dad and your first client and now with your children. Pero there's still a confusion, no? Are you considering it as you're in a manufacturing industry or retail industry?
Actually, now we're more on the manufacturing industry. Before, I was selling ice to the volume of my production goes to the retail, to the malls. But when I realized yung impact nito sa mga tao na I teach a lot of low-key people to market this ice. Actually, 90% of our production goes to the urban side. So more on ano na kami ngayon, manufacturing, because if I will be the one to distribute the ice, mawawala ng market kung nasa gitna, kawawa sila. So I'm giving them an opportunity to have a business of their own by being our ice distributors.
That's right, that's right. So it's like cutting the giving them more jobs.
Yes.
Ito. So it's like also your corporate social responsibility. You're helping them more. Okay?
Yes.
So being an entrepreneur is working 24/7, as in totally 24/7, di ba? So how do you think entrepreneurs help the economy?
Actually, if you important sa entrepreneur is we do business, we expand our business to employ a lot of people. Yun ang importante, di ba? Kung pwede nga, all of us being a businessman, we will employ a lot of people na it's part of nation building Kasi pag nag-employ ka ng mga tao, tapos nagkaroon ka ng maraming distributors sa business mo, imagine how many people are you helping, giving them jobs and livelihood. So, ang entrepreneur, if pwede nga lahat ng tao mag-entrepreneur di ba?
You're actually featured in Rising Tigers magazine, if I'm not mistaken, twice. So how are you going to consider yourself? Nation builder ka na ba or a rising tiger?
I think I'm more on a nation builder. Kasi every brand, I'm expanding outside Metro Manila. So every city that I built a nice plant, I can see the growth, even the growth of the city. So sumasabay ako dun sa growth ng every city. Nakikita ko na lumalago. We are also growing. So it's part of, imagine I built a lot of plants all over the country. It's part of nation building. And at the same time, siguro, pwede mo i-coincide as Tiger of Asia na rin. Kasi if you're not expanding, you're not you're not helping the economy.
That's right, that's right. Pero, okay, one last question before we proceed again to our next speaker. So, who inspires you? Ayan, kasi yun yung usual question, no? Parang we like to wake up each day kasi we're very much inspired to do more. Diba? So, who inspires you?
Actually, I was inspired by these people. Itong mga tao na nakita ko. If you can see the tarps, I created this brand. Ito yung part ng marketing ng Mr. Freeze. Na-inspire ako kasi during pandemic days, alam mo, ang malls sarado. So, we did not close down kasi because of these people. Lahat ng tao nun are staying at home. So, imagine they're selling ice. Nagkaroon sila ng income na tuloy-tuloy. Sari-sari stores hindi naman na-close down, even us, because essentials kami. So, etong mga to, lumago sila. So, eto, nakaka-inspire sa akin. And also, of course, my employees na dating housemaid now became area managers of the company. So, parang tuloy-tuloy na lumalago every people that is part of Mr. Freeze. I'm really into social responsibility. Yung doing business with social responsibility is very important to me.
That's so nice of you, and I hope that some of the SMEs right now are listening, watching, and to emulate you. But what are the 3 most important habits you think yung character dapat, and also yung palaging ginagawa ng isang entrepreneur to become successful?
Every entrepreneur, number 1, lahat ng alam nyo naman, kailangan you have a mentor. Lahat nga, even athletes need a coach. So, kailangan meron kang mentor. At the same time, do business with your passion. Importante yan. Kasi mahirap din pilitin yung sarili. If you're not really interested with the business, it's hard to grow. So, yung third for me is seeing your business grow or seeing your business grow is very important. Kasi pag nag-grow ang business mo, dumadami rin yung people around you that is yung nagbe-benefit dun sa business mo na it's not, as I always say, Grace, di ba, it's not, success is not money. Success is what you have done and accomplished. Yun lagi kong sinasabi. Parang yun yung achievement ko in life yung nakita kong, nagawa ko pala to. For me, it's part of my success and parang continue yan eh. As long as you live, yun yung pagiging vision and mission mo in doing business.
Okay, also Gerry, you're very popular. It's the brand already, Mr. Freeze Tube Ice and you're Mr. Freeze. Pero hindi alam ng iba that you have other businesses. Ayan na gusto-gusto natin. Like ako, I'm always in Glorieta, checking your BLK. Diba? So, can you tell us more about the other businesses para ma-inspire pa itong ating mga nanonood?
Okay. When I met this couple who introduced to me Black 513, they are the creators of the product. So, I'm the investor, no? So, ang nakita ko yung, alam mo, when I met these two, sabi ko sa sarili ko, ayoko na mag-engage in other business kasi sabi ko, I'm already okay with ice. But when I tasted this product, sabi ko masarap. And I told myself, malamig ang natutunaw. Sabi ko, di ba, I'm lucky with malamig ang natutunaw. That started the company of BLK 513, which is a low-calorie yogurt. And then we created the Frank Milk Bar, yung another is milk-based, hindi siya milk tea na parang iba naman product. It's all about drinks. And then we have now Yugen Manila, which is yung scent. We have also branches in some of the malls na ano naman to, yung sa mga bahay naman, yung mga pabango siya usually candles, tapos scent. So parang itong business na to na extension of my company, nag-employ ka na naman ng maraming tao. So I think we have more than 15 branches all over. So ang dami na rin nakikinabang sa business mo, yung extension of your it's part of na rin ang CSR mo eh. Yung ganon.
That's good to know kasi, di ba, the more businesses that you're going to have, the more people na magiging employees. So, helping still the economy, of course, and the family of these people. So, what's your last message dito sa ating mga nanonood? But before that, the future plans and projects.
Ang future plans ng Mr. Freeze is Philippines is a tropical country, everybody needs ice. I will expand one at a time. You cannot, actually sabi ko, it will take a lifetime to fill up ice plants in the Philippines. So, ang akin lang, kung ano yung dumating, it's for me. Kung itong lugar na to, para sa akin. Kung ano man yun. I'm not looking for any locations. It's all about magic na dumadating, ino-offer. So, I will continue expanding para mas madami tayong matulungan, mas madami. I'm not after sa ROI, Grace, hindi na ako nag-view doon kasi yung impact, kahit maliit lang yung kita mo, but yung impact sa maraming tao, that is more important to me.
Yes, you mentioned that to me. It's all about legacy already. It's all about the future generation and for your corporate social responsibility. It's not about earning anymore. Alright, so now, ayun, Gerry, sobrang dami nating pwede bang pag-usapan, pero of course, what's your last message or para dito sa mga future CEOs?
Message ko sa mga future CEOs, andito lang ako. Alam mo naman, anytime na kailangan mo ako, Grace, I'm just here to inspire a lot of people, to inspire a lot of upcoming entrepreneurs. Basta always remember, guys, go with your passion and then do a business with social responsibility. Hindi yung parang gusto mo mag-business to gain more money. Pero pag sinabi mo, nakita mo yung impact sa lahat ng mga tao mo and all the people around you, everything will follow. You will be successful, I tell you. Yun yung Tsaka, syempre, Grace, always remain humble. Kailangan nakatapak tayo sa lupa dahil hindi naman sa atin lahat to eh. Ito pinahiram lang sa atin. So, hindi natin madadala to. So, we have to share it to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Fish Tube Ice Incorporated, Mr. Gerry Santos. Thank you so much, and hope that you're going to join us once more. All right?
Anytime,
So,
Ray.
yeah, all right. So next, we're going to have, of course, the award-winning entrepreneur, award-winning host, RJ Ledesma. Hi, RJ.
Hi, magandang umaga sa lahat. Before everything else, I just want to say I was so inspired by the talk of Mr. Freeze himself, Gerry Santos. I've had a chance to be one of the awardees with him in the Asia Leaders Awards, but there's still so much to learn from him as well and to learn from our other speakers. So this morning, Grace, I know that there's several topics which we want to talk about. And the sort of like the overarching theme of our topics here this morning is really about entrepreneurship. So I'm coming here more today to speak more about the entrepreneurial mindset, because many people here want to listen. They're trying to pick up, I guess, best practices, success secrets, and all these different things. But what I want to zero in here right now is, how does a successful entrepreneur think? Or whether or not you're a successful or not yet successful entrepreneur, there is a way that they all think. Now, like you said earlier on, just like Grace, I'm also a Go Negosyo accredited mentor. I also have my own podcast. And in those podcasts, I get to interview a lot of very successful entrepreneurs who are doing very, very well with their business. So I try to find out and distill, what is it about the way that they do business or the way that they think that's very important? And this is the one thing which I discovered about the way that many entrepreneurs think. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the first slide. So really the way that I think about entrepreneurship is that I think about entrepreneurship that it's all about solving other people's irritations. So basically what it means that the job of an entrepreneur is not to determine whether a situation is good or bad. The job of an entrepreneur is to discover opportunities in good situations and especially in bad situations. At mamaya konti, makikita po ninyo sa sasabihin ni Marjorey Rubio sa BEC CS, her business grew in the midst of the biggest irritation, the health pandemic. Gerry Santos, the same thing. He said his business grew during this pandemic here as well, because it was something that they were doing. They were solving irritations. Because for me, the basic idea is that your job as an entrepreneur is to turn your irritations into inspirations for doing business. Because if you're able to solve somebody's irritations, kung kunyari ako ay naiirita sa isang bagay at ikaw, Grace, ay naiirita sa isang bagay, kung kayo po nakikinig ay naiirita sa isang bagay, if we are able to solve our common irritations, dyan ako kikita ng pera. It's as basic as that. Next slide, please. So your job as an entrepreneur is to turn irritations into business opportunities. And it's really a mindset change, because many Filipinos, I think, they're very entrepreneurial. But at the same time, for many of them, they think, okay, dito sa Pilipinas, maraming problema. May problema sa traffic, may problema sa healthcare, may problema so logistics. So many people, they think, I want to leave this country because there are so many problems over here. They want to migrate, which is perfectly fine. But people with an entrepreneurial mindset, they're looking at the Philippines and saying, wow, ang daming problema sa Pilipinas, may problema sa logistics, may problema sa traffic, may problema sa healthcare. I want to go there and solve those problems para kumita ako ng pera. And that's how entrepreneurs think. So right now, if you look at the entrepreneurial startup scene, ang dami mga Filipino-Americans, pati yung mga foreigners who are coming here right now to help solve these problems in the Philippines, because they want to turn that into business opportunities. Next slide, please. So let me talk about my own irritation that led to the creation of Mercato Central. Once upon a time, I was actually a columnist for the Manila Times about 13, 14 years ago. I used to write in the lifestyle column under Vistesa Mauricio Ariola. And, as a lifestyle journalist, you would often get sent to what we call media familiarization tours. So we're sent to all these different countries. Next slide, please. And oftentimes, the countries that we would get sent to are yung mga Asian countries. And the first place that they would bring us to in these Asian countries, yung mga tour guides, they would bring us to all these, they would bring us to, all the night food markets. Like, for example, in Taiwan, they would bring you to Shilin. If you would go to Singapore, they bring you to Lau Pa Sat. In Thailand, they would bring you to Chatuchak. And I was wondering, these markets were bustling with so many people, both locals and foreigners, who wanted to try out the local street food scene. And I was thinking to myself, how come in the Philippines we don't have an equivalent of a night food market despite the fact that many Filipinos, they like to eat late at night, just like our Asian counterparts. But more importantly, as our friend from the Rienzie from the BPO industry will tell us, di ba? What is the lunchtime of the BPO industry? 11 p.m. at night. At pag 11 p.m. ng gabi, saan sila kakain? Sa mga convenience store fried chicken, or would they rather have a freshly cooked meal? And that's our target, to get to we want to solve that irritation of providing a late night food venue for late night eaters, but at the same time to create a night food market scene. So that was really the first inspiration that we had for the market. The second one, if you can go to the next slide, our second irritation, or for me this was an inspiration, was that me and my wife, and we honeymooned about 14 years ago, we went to the Mercato Central in Florence, Italy, and we were so inspired by the market over there. It wasn't like a wet market over here, It was a market where you got to experience meeting people, trying food. So we really enjoyed the experience over there. And we said, how can we translate that and bring that experience back here to the Philippines? So those are the two basic inspirations that we had to begin the Mercato Central. Next slide, please. So we actually began the market as a morning market, because at that time, back in November 2010, the very popular morning markets were the Legazpi market and the Saucedo market, which I enjoyed going to. And the only pain point I had for them was that I was saying, people were saying, wala silang aircon, di ba? So we created the first market, was a morning market na nilagyan namin ng aircon sa loob. And there were so many vendors who wanted to join at the time Legazpi and Saucedo market in the morning. Wala na silang lugar, so we were able to provide an additional venue for them. So that's how we began the market. And eventually we realized that we had to pivot, we had to change how the business was run. And we realized, because if we want to grow the market, we needed another location for it. We needed to create another time slot for it. And we went to becoming, we evolved from being a morning market into a nighttime market. Next slide, please. So pre-pandemic, we actually put up about 3 locations with over 100 plus vendors. And that was pre-pandemic. But the thing is, when the pandemic hit in March 2020, places of mass gathering like Mercato Central had to be closed down for public health purposes. So all of a sudden, all our markets disappeared. We were problematic with, how do you pay rent? And then more importantly for us, we're saying, how can we help our small food vendors? Because many of our vendors these are not large companies, these are small food vendors. And we were asking ourselves, what can we do to continually help our small food vendors grow? Next slide, please. But before that, just a couple of things I did. We did win several awards on the way of putting Mercato. So I just wanted to show you briefly the awards which we got. Next slide, please. So these are the different awards which we received over the past couple of years. Next slide, please. And of course, we also got an award as an enterprise innovator for our business model at the First Man Smith Awards. Next slide, please. And just like Grace Nicolas over here, we are both mentors in Go Negosyo. We help small food businesses grow through Go Negosyo. Next slide, please. So what happened here right now is that, our business was disrupted. We were disrupted by a pandemic. Before, people were being disrupted by technological innovations, like the taxi business was disrupted by Uber, the hotel business was disrupted by Airbnb. So now naman, what we were being disrupted by was not technology, but rather by a pandemic. So how do we as entrepreneurs react in these times when a pandemic hits our businesses and we have to change our business? Well, again, we look at the pandemic as another irritation to our business. And how do we solve irritations? We solve irritations by thinking of new ways to solve that irritation. We turn that irritation into an inspiration for doing a new business model. So when your business is being disrupted by a pandemic, next slide, please. Your entrepreneurial is still the same. Your job is to find ways to solve that irritation. People could no longer access our vendors, access our food. So we have to find another way that they could access our food more efficiently or more effectively, or something that was cognizant of the new normal. Next slide, please. So, the Chinese often say Wei Ji, diba? Which is the first term they often say means crisis. The second one means opportunity. So in every crisis lies an opportunity. So in this case, what happened over here? Next slide, please. So if your business is being disrupted, what do? Next slide. You disrupt yourself again. You disrupt your own business. Find different ways now of doing your business. Next slide. So we were one of the first to readjust again during this pandemic because al fresco was the way to go, right? Because people want to go outdoors. So we were one of the first who were able to carefully review the IATF protocols and mandates to create our outdoor food markets. And from there, the outdoor food markets really bloomed. They really blossomed because everybody was going outdoor. In fact, we've opened up, we're opening up now. We bought 5, 6 markets. We keep on opening up newer ones almost every month for these outdoor food markets. Next slide, please. Next slide. So these are just all the different markets. We also have right now our Mercato kitchen because we realized that we needed one central area where we could bring all the different vendors so that they could be open on a 24/7 basis, or they could be open more often for people. And we put all our vendors into one location versus just having a al fresco location. We also now have a physical location for our vendors to be co-located. Last slide, please. And we're also working with the Multisys Group to develop a Mercato app where we're able to help all these different small food vendors grow through the app. So instead of them being in a physical venue, they're all together now in a digital venue. Last slide, please. So right now, if you are interested to become a food vendor in any of our Mercato Central locations, if you've got an interesting food concept that you want to grow, I invite you to please become part of the Mercato Central family. You can contact us at the cell phone number that appears below, 0917-160-5635, or you can also visit our Mercato Central Facebook page and tell me that you want to become a vendor at Mercato Central. So Grace, thanks so much again. Thanks to Asia Leaders Forum, and of course, thank you as well to our friends at Manila Times.
Yes, RG, thank you so much. But first, I want to ask also, Mercato Central is just one business that you have right now. We would like to understand also and to know more kasi a lot of inquiries, ano? Entre PH, tell us more about it.
Entre PH is actually excuse me, it's a global consultancy firm which we created because the pain point that we saw over there is that the Philippines is really growing as an outsourcing country. Why? Because of the well-educated population. They're very easily trainable, and our English language skills. And many businesses, when they want to come to the Philippines, it's not always the large BPOs that come to the Philippines, or even the smaller ones that have maybe 2 to 3 people, or even just 5 people or 10 people that they want to grow the business. And then they cannot afford the services of the larger consultancy firms, accounting firms to run their businesses for them. So they're looking for smaller firms, MSM. These are the MSMEs abroad who want to be able to use the advantages of the Philippines to grow their businesses. So that's basically what Entre PH was about. We're here to help businesses outsource to the Philippines. And the same way, just like Gerry Santos was saying, for us at business is partly, of course, it makes money, but it's also an advocacy to create more jobs here in the Philippines.
All right, because it's like this. I have also one client who needs somebody like a consultancy firm for franchising. So do you do that also?
Yeah, for franchising naman, I run a business called Easy Franchise. And Easy Franchise, what was the pain point that I learned for Easy Franchise? The pain point that we were trying to solve over there was that, I give a lot of talks. And one time I was giving a talk in Dubai. In Dubai, we saw that many people, many of our OFWs, when there was a franchisor who came along with us, who was a water distributor, said, when he was offering the franchise, ang daming gustong kumuha ng franchise niya. But, so una-una, we saw that many of our OFWs wanted to look for a franchise, but they didn't know where. And they can't come down physically to Manila to check out the franchise shows, or they can, at the same time, they cannot also go online. Parang, how do we vet if these people are trustworthy, these franchises being offered to us? So, because many of our OFWs, unfortunately, have been scammed. So the first thing to do is, I thought, okay, many of our OFWs want access to franchises. But secondarily, because they live abroad, there's nobody to run the franchise for them. And usually what happens here is that if you let a kamag-anak or a friend run the business, they don't have the skill set to run it. So the business will not often be successful. So they need professional managers to run it. And that's the idea of Easy Franchise. We're like a one-stop shop for franchising. Online, you can choose among several verifiable franchises that we have, from Mr. Donut to Lavada, to Bexy as part of one of our franchises there as well. No, you can choose from them, and then when you choose it, we can professionally run that franchise. You can run it yourself, but we can also run that franchise for you. So we can help you, and also, if you have your own business that you want to turn into a franchise, we can help you with preparing the franchise documentation, and then marketing the business and even managing the business for you at the same time.
Okay, because I recommended you already, so I told this client I'm just going to arrange it next week. Ayan,
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Client. Yeah. All right, so we're going to continue our discussion again after all the presentation. Thank you, RJ.
Thank you, Grace.
So
Thank you.
our next speaker, Marjorey Rubio of Bex Logistics. Hello, Marjorey.
Hi, Miss Grace.
Ayan, so looking forward for your presentation. All right, go ahead.
Yes. Ayan, so again, thank you for this opportunity for me to be able to share. No, one of the major constraints that we have right now in the industry, which involves highly logistics. So next slide, please. Yeah, so there are 4 points which I wanted to highlight today. One is the lack of knowledge on capitalizing in e-commerce. And then we all know there's a lot of businesses right now which lacks process and proper marketing as well. And then number 4 would be there is no permanent logistics partner. So these points, the pain points that we have right now on the emerging e-commerce industry, I will discuss thoroughly one by one. So next slide. Okay, so for the lack of knowledge on capitalizing in e-commerce, as we all know, when pandemic hit the country, there were a lot of new entrepreneurs who tried to swim up because some of them might have been laid off from work, diba, out of work. And then there were a lot of retrenchments, as we know, kasi syempre, not all businesses can immediately transition from the retail, the traditional one, into the e-commerce industry. And as what I've been sharing ever since, no, e-commerce is doing your business online. So everything that involves an e-commerce is done online. And one of the key drivers of e-commerce is, of course, having your own website, having your own social media platform, because these are the tools wherein one is able to sell their goods or services. So I see in here that there are so many entrepreneurs as well who are not equipped with the knowledge that they need to have in terms of e-commerce industries. One of the things that I always share to the people that we also mentor is that there should be a business development side in their in their industry. Because if there's no business development, if they're all focused on just doing the sales and meeting the profit margins, pag walang business development, there is no sustainability in the business. Okay, so this is one of the pain points that I see in the emerging businesses right now. Next slide. Okay, lack of process. So lack of process usually comes in if the business is very, if it's new. If it's in the stage wherein it's usually marami yung volume, no, biglang dumami. There are a lot of businesses ngayon po na nagsimula na ganyan. Why? Because they have goods, they have services na nag-click immediately sa market. They were able to get a market share because nag-trend sila. And as we know, there's a lot of ways on how your business can trend. There's already TikTok for business. There is Facebook Reels. So people are getting more innovative. People are getting more artistic. People are getting more creative on how they offer their businesses. However, ang problem kasi is that hindi nakakasabay yung process dun sa nakukuha nilang volume. So this is also one of the pain points that a lot of the business owners are suffering right now, because kung walang process, the tendency is the entire system will fail. Okay? And then number 3, next slide. Lack of proper marketing. So I know that there are some businesses who are good, the entrepreneurs who are good in Facebook ads and all, but some of them have, let's just say that the allocation of their funding for marketing, may mga companies naman who are not really able to budget well on marketing, or some of them are targeting different audiences, whereas they should be targeting this certain audience. So of course, when you market, you should be clear kung sino yung target audience mo, yung target market mo. And then you can spend your funding for or your budget for marketing dun lang sa dapat na audience mo. Because of course, whenever you do marketing, you should be able to convert leads. So I think there are a quite number of entrepreneurs that we have. This is based on experience, no? There are a lot of people that we've talked to. You know, they spend a lot on different platforms, they spend here and there. But if we check on the conversion of their leads, it's quite low. Sometimes there's really no conversion of leads. And this is one thing that all business owners should be capable of doing. They should know, they should have calendar of their marketing tools. They should, I believe, you know, sabi nga ni RJ kanina, Philippines is becoming one of the outsourcing countries, no? And what he said is true. So before I ventured into business, the reason why I have a very strong sales and marketing background is I worked for real estate agents in the US. So we have SEO there. I'm very used into using different marketing avenues because that's how I work with them. That's how I do it. And I manage different marketing teams. So na-equip ako ng husto when I was being outsourced, no? So they have been outsourcing virtual assistants here in the Philippines. And I'm so glad that I was part of that industry. So it's one of the things that I would also want to highlight as this one as a pain point. You can hire people who are really exposed, who are really good in marketing. I don't think that in the industry right now, because of the different trends that is happening, it's always unpredictable. So one day you'll wake up, ito na yung trending, the following day iba na naman, okay? So I think that there should be an expert in your team and then outsource the rest. Because there are a lot of business owners who have their own core competency, and it's always best to bank on their core competencies because yun na yung ginagawa nila eh. That's why they're selling their service because dun sila magaling. So I also would like to suggest if you don't have right now in your team, in your company, wala kayo talagang let's say hardcore marketing people, then it's always best to outsource because they can definitely do it for you. There are a lot of digital marketers na magagaling talaga. You know, they can ramp up your sales from, let's say if you're selling 10 units, they can do it for 100 to 1,000 units in a day. And that's digital selling. Sobrang bilis ngayon ng online marketing. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is of course my favorite pain point because this is one big huge thing that we are resolving. No permanent logistics partner. And why do I say it's a pain point if you say there's no permanent? Okay, I want to highlight the word permanent because a lot of sellers right now, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of platform, they bank on different logistics. Sometimes one company would have 5 or 6 logistics. Some of them would have like 3, 4. Okay. So why do I say it's a pain point if you don't have a permanent logistics? Because if you don't have a permanent logistics partner, you will have to deal with different standards and procedures every now and then. So you'd have to consider one logistics is different from the other. So you have to follow each of their set of procedures. And what else? Of course, pricing would always be different. Iba-iba na yan ang presyo. Iba-iba yan on the attack of the customers, on how they handle the customers. And you should ask yourself, what is your key performance indicator? Yeah, you know, there are platforms that they have these key performance indicators. But what about if you scale your business up? how are you supposed to get the support that you need if from the start you don't have a history, or if from the start, you know, you work with different partners, you work with different logistics. Okay, so that is one of the biggest pain point right now, and people should consider looking into this. Why? What is the main driver of e-commerce? Would you have an e-commerce industry if there is no delivery? The answer is no. The answer is definitely no. That's why there's a lot of business people right now who's looking into delivering as well. It's because logistics is the main industry driver of e-commerce. Wala namang online kung wala magde-deliver. How would you say it's online if you go to the store and physically purchase the item? You say it's e-commerce if you bought it online and someone will deliver it to your doorstep. Meaning, you don't need to go physically to some store or some service center. So one of the pain points that I see in the Philippines right now and in the emerging trends is that they don't consider having a permanent logistics part. Okay, next slide. So this was my question earlier. What is the importance of having an end-to-end fulfillment partner if you have a growing e-commerce business? Next slide. Yeah, so I'd like to share a simple case study, and this is true actually. It was one of our clients before. So we have a client who imports products from abroad, okay, from Instagram, and now she's able to sell a lot because of her influence in the social media. Kaya nga yung sinasabi ko earlier, if you really want to grow your business, there's digital marketing. There's so many good and expert people on doing digital marketing if you really want to grow for it. And this goes for everyone, especially those who are in the traditional retail business. And I know there's a lot of brick and mortar companies who are listening right now. If you're a brick and mortar company and you are quite not sure, maybe you're hesitant to capitalize on digital marketing and doing e-commerce, but I will tell you this, sooner or later you would have to do it, so might as well do it now, because based on study, the growth of our e-commerce industry is gonna, it's not just double. It's not just double. There's a huge and drastic percentage that it's gonna go high in the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm banking on Philippines, and I'm hoping and praying that Philippines should be at the top 5 at least of the Southeast Asian countries who does e-commerce streamlessly. Okay, so going back to the case study, this seller was able to spend over 500,000. Ganon po kabilis lumaki yung kanyang business. She started with a couple of goods, and then because of her charisma sa kanyang mga customers, and some buyers are like this. I'm not really buying the product. I am buying you. I am buying your brand because I like you. Which is why no matter what she sells, laging nauubos. Kasi it's not because of the goods that she's selling. It's the influence that she's giving to the audience. Okay, so in a year she was able to invest like 500,000. Na ganun kabilis siya lumaki. And she also started right after pandemic. I think after ECQ or something like that. So, and she ships via different couriers. So different ang ano niya kasi wala pa siyang permanent partner. Next slide. Yan. So after 2 years of selling, and wala siyang logistics and e-commerce partner. So what happened is that wala nang space sa kanyang bahay. She doesn't have an office. She does all the packaging by herself, making her unavailable for customer inquiries. So in technicality, kung ang core business mo is really to market, to sell, you trade. Nagte-trade ka lang naman nagte-trade lang naman siya. So her core business is really trading. Kaya lang ang nangyayari, siya na rin yung nagiging fulfillment. Because she has to do the packaging, she has to invoice the clients and all. Yung mga na-convert sana niya na leads, no, while her business is growing, dapat na-convert na niya. But what's happening, there's an opportunity lost. So yung opportunity cost niya lumaki kasi sayang dahil she's only a one-man show, one-man team. So like for example, she has 100 orders. How will she be able to answer the next 200 orders? And digital marketing can bring you that kind of momentum. If you're selling 50 right now, you can wake up tomorrow, you're selling 1,000 products already. And that's really happening. It's not unusual. It is very, very usual. Now, if you have the right tool, if you have an FB expert, ads expert, you can do that. Okay, the best way to scale your business is really through e-commerce. So she loses track of time, she misses out a lot of orders, ship her goods, and this is one this is something that is unavoidable kasi of course if you're very focused on handling the distribution channel, which hindi naman dapat ikaw, bumabagal ka. Ano nangyari? Yung service mo matatamaan because you cannot ship the goods. And I've talked to a lot of sellers. I've interviewed them. Sabi ko, you went on live yesterday. You were able to sell 300 pieces of clothes. Pero sa rack mo, on your clothing rack, I see in here less than 1,000 goods na may pangalan na naka-stock. So I asked her, what was the problem? Sabi niya, we can't ship it kasi natabunan kami kasi hindi namin alam paano siya ipipick and pack and then hindi kayang i-dala at one time kasi itina-tricycle lang namin papunta sa branch. So you see, you could have converted your cash flow, your ROI, dapat bumalik na sa yung capital mo eh. But what's hindering it? Hindi makabalik yung capital mo kasi wala kang process, wala kang partner, walang sumasalo dun sa kailangan mo na gawin. And ano yung pinakamalaking hurdle? Delivery. Kasi ikaw na yung nag-pack, you go to the supplier, after you go to the supplier, punta ka na sa bahay mo, magbebenta ka na, tapos babalutin mo na yung items na nabenta mo, tapos ikaw pa rin yung magdadala sa branch. Or magpipick up sila. Ito na ngayon ang problem, after sales support. O na-deliver na ng courier or whatever branch that you've shipped out the goods. The following day, uulan ng tanong, where is my item? Where's my tracking number? So, ikaw pa rin yung after sales. Why? Are you able to pass it on to the logistics? Are you able to ask them, can you answer the questions for me? Can you get the after sales from me? Pwede bang kayo na yung mag-customer service? The answer is no. Because the regular logistics right now will only ship your goods, but there is no after sales. The after sales will be for you. Ikaw ang nagpa-ship, pwede ka magtanong kasi ikaw yung nagpa-ship. But for them, they will not accommodate your buyers, your customers. Okay, next slide. Okay, so at the end of the day, when I ask her to compute, can you show me after 2 years what is your financial statement? Or even, what is your profit margin right now? What did you earn? Simplest questions. What did you earn? How much did you earn in the last 2 years? And she wasn't able to answer me. So sabi ko, 500,000 worth of inventory could have brought you 5 times XXXXX million sales na dapat yan sa'yo. Kasi ang laki na inventory mo. Dapat you should have been able to put up your warehouse, a small one. You should have been able to hire people under you who's supposed to do your fulfillment. But she's unable to scale it because she does everything alone. Okay? And of course, what is number one that is being affected? Her health. So, there's a point in time where she was unable to sleep. Well, she lost a lot of weight. Kasi nga na stress na siya, and this is what I always share. What is the use of your business if you're not able to enjoy it because you're gone? Like your health is affected, you will have your illness. Paano na? Sayang yung ininvest mo na oras mo, sayang ininvest mo na time mo, sayang yung sinasabi natin na I do it for my family. When your family will not be happy if you'll not be around to enjoy the fruits of your labor by then. Okay? So next slide. So what is the importance? Having the right logistics partner can minimize your transfer cost. So here at Bex, we offer end-to-end fulfillment. And when we say end-to-end fulfillment, we come to a point wherein we also offer to source for suppliers. Para wala ka naiintindihan, even if you want to import your goods from outside the country, we can do that for you. We also represent our clients, especially in the European countries. So we are partnered with Aurora. So we represent them if they want to import and export in European countries and in UK. So we're very strong in there, meaning from the time that you want your supplies to arrive at your home, we can pick it up for you. You just tell us what you want and what you need to do. What process is that, okay? So it saves you from transportation costs kasi there's a lot of people right now, and I see it in regular online the live sellers. When I interview them, sabi nila, so we buy the items from the supplier. Sometimes it could be Divisoria, it can be a supplier from outside. So they buy it, and then they transfer the items through different logistics, or sometimes sila mismo. And then when I ask them, pinapasok nyo ba yung cost na yon? Nilalagay nyo ba yung shipping cost nyo, yung cost mo to, your effort, your own effort to pick up your goods? Ikaw ba isinasama mo yan sa costing mo? And the answer is no. Kasi sabi nila, kailangan ba? Ako naman yun eh. And the answer is, hindi dapat na hindi siya sinasama. Dapat kasama siya. Because even if you own the business, you should still put a cost for your effort, for your gas, kasi that's the only way for you to see if talagang kumikita ka. Dapat injected siya lahat sa costing mo. So yan yung isang malaking mistake na nagagawa ng marami po sa atin kasi hindi nila nare-realize na yung mga gas na simple-simple, some of them would offer free delivery. Meet up. Paano yung gas mo papunta dun sa meet up place mo? Paano yung gas mo na pumunta doon sa Divisoria para kunin yun? Na-infuse mo na ba yun sa product? Hindi. It's not part of their markup. Sometimes they tend to just focus on putting up the markup and trading it as it is. But you have to consider your time. Why? Kasi yung oras mo na kumukuha ng products, you should have been selling it na lang eh. Dapat nagtitinda ka na lang noon, dapat nagmamarket ka na. Para yung nakukuha mong sales, if you're getting 10 units that you're selling right now, kung nakafocus ka lang sa pagbebenta, sa pagsisales, then you can double it. Eh di dapat at the end of the day, you should have sold 30 to 50 units. Bakit hindi mo nagawa? Kasi ikaw mismo yung pumick up. Ikaw na rin yung nag-deliver, which is not your core business. Okay? Next slide. Before I forgot, also, there's a huge factor that you should be able to develop your business. So, one thing that a lot of us ay nami-miss out when we start selling, because bago tayo, when we start selling, sige, okay na yan. Kumikita na ako may nabebenta naman ako. But the problem is, how about in the next 5 years? How about in the next 5 years? Are you able to scale your business? My question is, what do you want to happen after 5 years, after 2 years, or after a year? We've watched a lot of new entrepreneurs. We've worked on their data. So I work on market research as well. That's one of our core competency. We do a lot of market research. And I see in here, bakit madami na mga sellers from last year wala na ngayon? And the reason behind that is because there's no business development. I'm selling pajamas. I'm selling this trending item last year. What about next year? Paano? Paano mo malalaman what's the next item that would trend, di ba? So you wouldn't know because you're not able to develop your business. You're not able to research on it. And why are you not able to research? It's because you're so busy doing other things na hindi na dapat ikaw yung gumagawa. As an entrepreneur, it is our job and it is our task to develop the business. Because that's the only way for your business to be sustainable. Otherwise, in the long run, kakainin ka lang ng iba mong kakumpetensya. Because you're not being backed up by any data, you're not being backed up by any process, you're not being backed up by a development. Okay? So when you do business, if you are 100% sure that you really want to do business, and then your goal is to make it sustainable, nothing more. Okay? So having the right logistics partner can help you with inventory and packaging, and this is true. Okay, so in our case, as a logistics partner, we are very focused on helping our clients grow their business up to the point of packaging their own goods. We do the warehouse, we do the pick and pack. Okay, we even offer after sales. Yun yung sinasabi ko po kanina. Kami po, we do the after sales support. Kaya nga yung tagline namin, your business is our business, because we want to see you grow, we want to be part of your growth, and we will do everything from our end to make sure you will grow. Okay, so it saves a lot of time and effort, making you more productive, of course, because pag may gagawa na yan para sa'yo, meron ka pa bang ibang intindihin? Wala. The only thing that you need to work on is your business development. So we have a client, she's selling bags, and we offered her the end-to-end solution. So even the licensing of her brand, kami na rin yun. We also secure permits for her. And kami na rin yung after sales niya. Kami na rin yung nagpipick up sa supplier niya. So ano yung meron sa kanya, ma'am? Yung concept. She has a great concept. She wants to sell bags, local bags, and she has a very strong corporate she has a very strong social responsibility. Kasi gusto niya matulungan yung mga nasa Liliw at gusto niya matulungan yung mga nasa Marikina. So ang suppliers niya, ang gumagawa ng bags niya is from Marikina and Liliw, but she has the brand. So we had her brand listed. We had it patented. We secured her permits, and then the thing that she does is she markets it. Kasi yun yung magaling siya. Because she's a known person. A lot of people know her. She's not just an influencer. So she's someone who's very visible to the public. But we do the back end. So at the end of the day, kahit pa meron siyang ibang core na ginagawa. I mean, if it's not her first business, natutuloy because we do the back end for her. So if you have a right partner, it saves you time and effort. Kasi we also look at your sustainability, your profit margin. We even have a consultation. We tell you, okay, this would be profitable for you. And the number one thing that we ask from our customers is, how much do you want to earn this year? How much is your target sales? Doon natin siya tatrabahuin. Okay, next slide. Having the right logistics can scale your business at a different level. So ito po yung sinasabi ko kanina. We want you to scale your business. And ano bang para kay Bex doon? Shipments. If we help you scale your business, kung kahapon nagtitinda ka lang ng 20, tapos tinulungan ka namin, we help you out to structure your business. We also provide you with market research. We provided you with the end-to-end solutions. For all you know, in the next couple of months, you will be selling thousands of units. And what's in it for us? Your shipments. You grow, we grow. You grow, we get more shipments. So it's for us, it's a win-win. It's a win-win solution because kapag ka wala naman na ibenta yung seller mo paano ka na wala ka na ring shipments? Kasi nalulungkot kami. The reason why we came up with this kind of business model is I felt really sad when we saw the trend that some of our clients, they were really good in selling last year. When we interviewed it after a year, bakit po nagbumaba yung shipments nyo? Ano po yung nangyari? And this is what they told us. So these are the things that we saw na, oh, okay. Yes, mahirap kasi mag-transition into selling. And, mind you, there are a lot of people na lakas lang ng loob ang meron. And they had to do it for families. They had to do it because they need to. Hindi naman nila talaga core magbenta. And along the way, they found out na talagang magaling pala silang magbenta. Meron pala talaga silang ganong capacity. Or along the way, they found out talaga may concept sila, which is really sellable, which is a winning product, winning service, or whatever. So, for us, kailangan ng backup. Because if you don't have a partner who will back you up, how can you scale your business? So if you want to grow and scale your online business, you really need a permanent logistics partner. When I say permanent, ito na yung kasama mo, parang sa mag-asawa lang yan, no? You cannot live with two people at the same time, no? Isa nga lang kasi you go hand in hand together. So it's like you are marrying your partner. So you dedicate. There's dedication. There's dedication from your side. There is dedication from our side. Okay, so we develop your process. We customize your services. We provide customer service because at the end of the day, our goal as a company, it is to raise billionaires, is to raise great entrepreneurs. And how are they able to do that? You have a very good concept, but you need someone to make sure it will happen. And that is what we do. Because when we raise a lot of billionaires, when we raise people na magagaling talaga, no, entrepreneurs, I believe that the economy of our country will also scale up. And our values is very strong. We want to make sure that Philippines will be one of the top countries who are doing e-commerce, import, export. And this is our dream, that a lot of our countrymen will also find the Philippines as one of the biggest income provider for them. Not the other countries, but Philippines. Next slide. So here at PEX, we treat your business as our business. We are not an ordinary courier. We provide you the best logistic solutions. And I can say that a lot of our clients have been with us for years already. We provide end-to-end fulfillment services, which you will never have to worry again. Because, again, going back to our tagline, your business is our business. And the only key to be a successful e-commerce business is having seamless delivery. So, without logistics, there is no e-commerce. So we find ways, we are innovative, we are pioneering blockchain applied to logistics here in the Philippines. And when we do that, we will have a more seamless process for the suppliers up until the consumers. Okay, so thank you everyone. Again, it's Marge from Bex. If you want to reach out to us there, you can reach out to our email and our website.
All right, so thank you so much, Marjorey Rubio, the co-founder. Well, of course, the other co-founder is the husband, the co-founder of Bex Logistics Incorporated. But Marge, no, you discuss a lot of things with regards to the issues of logistics. And you shared also a lot of strategies on how to solve it. We would like to understand also, no, what's your core values in your company?
So basically, our core value is excellency. Of course, there are a lot of competitors in the same industry that we have, but we always strive to be excellent in what we do, and that includes the delivery lead time. So one of our main main tasks or main project this year is to cutting down the standard lead time into half. Yan yung pine-prepare po namin. So it's gonna be more efficient kasi yung return on investment, of course, of the suppliers, which I have been discussing earlier. There's a lot of people right now who does cash on delivery. And the problem is that tumatagal yung remittance sa kanila. So this is one problem that we are trying to resolve. Faster remittance, faster delivery time, so everyone will be happy.
With regards also, of course, to the one that you discussed with regards dito sa case study, ano?
Yes.
So, the solution, according to you, which of course we all agree, is really delegation and
Yes.
hire a lot of people, of course, who are quality people, of course, who can help the company. Kasi, of course, when we're talking about entrepreneurship, hindi naman pwedeng nag-iisa ka lang. Diba? It will really have something afterwards. Yun nga, you mentioned about health problems and a lot more. At again, there's no man in an island,
Yes,
diba? So
yes,
talagang
yes.
we really need competent people with us. Can you please
Yes.
elaborate it more?
Yes. So, one of the factors po kasi, Ma'am Grace, that a lot of the new entrepreneurs are having problems is nagma-micromanage sila. And it's also one of my sakit, no? I do it. Kaya ko na share eh. Kasi for the longest time, I have been micromanaging. But one thing that I have learned and I have realized, you need to delegate work. Kasi you need to see farther. As an entrepreneur, what you need to see is 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Dapat ganun na yung vision mo. And if you micromanage, you just see the current situation. And people, okay, we should always remember as entrepreneurs, the people under us they are relying on the vision that we will cast on them. So, pag wala kang nakikita farther, then ang mangyayari lang, ikaw lang yan hanggang for the rest of the years, ikaw na lang yan kasi wala kang maikakast na vision sa tao eh. So you cannot delegate because you're not seeing the bigger picture. That's why delegation is very important.
That's right. So it means to say that, of course, we really need to lead. And how are you going to lead if there's no followers? Diba?
Yes.
And as what they say also, diba, the company will only grow if there are a lot of people also with you who will help you. Okay, so we're going to continue the Q&A more, Marge, later on. Okay. So actually, our last and final leader with us to discuss about the company and leadership, it's Rienzie Ramirez. So I'm going to introduce again Rienzie. He's actually from 24/7 AI Philippines, one of the country's major movers and shakers in customer experience software and services with the president, of course. Ayan, he's going to be joining us in a while. Rienzie Ramirez and is not stopping, continuing streak as a multi-awarded business process outsourcing company or BPO, is under a BPO company. Rienzie has been in the BPO industry since 2001. He joined a local BPO in 2001 right out of school and worked his way up to operations director in 3 years, just in 3 years. After that, he joined the largest global BPO in 2003 and was part of the pioneer team and the first head of operations to lead the largest U.S. telecommunications client of the company. 3 years later, he had an opportunity to start up 24/7 AI and has since grown the company to where they are today. Formerly trained with a BA in Quantitative Economics, 24/7 AI President and Country Manager Rienzie Ramirez also possesses 2 postgraduate degrees, a Master's in Industrial Economics and an MBA from the Asian Institute of Management in the Philippines. And to understand more about the 24/7 AI, let's watch this video.
Making its debut on the list at number 4 is 24/7 AI. 24/7 AI provides customer support services for businesses all over the world by establishing and operating call centers and BPO services through its AI technology, a leading software in digital-first customer service. Apart from the company's innovative technology, 24/7 AI's biggest assets have always been its people, who are encouraged to innovate, experiment, and develop. This emphasis on engagement and continuous learning for all makes 24/7 AI a great place to work, as 94% of employees say that they are treated as full members regardless of their position. Kudos to you, 24/7 AI.
All right, so thank you so much with that wonderful video. And now our, itong mga nanonood sa atin have an idea more with regards to 24/7 AI. So again, hello, let's all welcome Rienzie Ramirez.
Hello, hi Grace. Hey, thanks for having me, and apologies for the tech difficulties earlier. And you had to repeat that a second time. So
that's all right.
I'd like to, of course, greet all of your viewers a good morning, and along with the other esteemed business leaders out here, thanks to, of course, Asia Leaders Forum and Manila Times for having me. It's been great hearing from all of RJ, Marjorey, and of course Mr. Freeze, and their stories have all been inspiring, and I'm really looking forward to also contributing today. Thanks, Grace.
All right, so Rienzie, the first thing that comes into my mind actually during the pandemic, like 2 years ago, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? Kasi, di ba, as what they say, magkakaroon daw na lockdown, something like that. You are in a BPO company. Okay, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? Are you afraid that there's going to be a shutdown of work? Because of course, magkakaroon ng maapektuhan, especially your businesses abroad, your clients abroad. So what's the first thing that you did during that time?
Well, I think from 2 years back, I think when that fateful March 16 date hit, and either local lockdowns were announced, and you heard one country go lockdown, one country after another announce their own lockdowns. Of course, there was so much unknown, right? And I think for any business, you heard RJ speak about that, right? We're here to solve business problems. We're here to solve business irritations. And you hear then a lockdown, and where, people's mobility will be hampered, or people's mobility would even be totally stopped, right? There was always a question of what will happen to our own work. And by our own work, you don't speak about just, the business that we do, but I guess more importantly, what will happen to our people's work? Our work is founded basically on people coming into the office, answering questions, picking up the phone, picking up chats, picking up messages, and then from there, generating experiences for our customers. When you hear global shutdowns, where all of the businesses of our own clients are also shut down, then I think early March, there was so much uncertainty. I think if you fast forward that to maybe the May, June, July timeframe of the same year, I think that was a totally different environment. It might have felt the same for a lot of people, where there were still shutdowns and there was no transportation and so on and so forth. But for a lot of the work that 24/7 does globally, and we handle Fortune 500 clients out of the US and out of Australia, predominantly handling telecommunications, media, and retail, it was very clear that our work falls under essential services. And by that, I think it shifted from a lot of uncertainty to our work and our people's and our people really being inspired that nothing definitely was going to stop us. And by that, lockdown or no lockdown, whether there was MRT, public transport, whether there were flights, we were going to be moving ahead and delivering services. I remember this very vividly, March 16, when 15 or 16, when it was locked down the first time in 2020. In 2 days, we were delivering desktops to our agents for them to work at home. And that's kind of unheard of. We were pushing almost 200, 300 folks working from home and continuously delivering the services for our US and our Australian clients. And so we've been credited by our clients in doing that brilliantly, along with 2 to 3 weeks later, delivering microsites and pushing those microsites near agent homes. Our footprint is predominantly in Metro Manila. Today, we're also in Pampanga, but 24/7's footprint is mostly in BGC, in Ortigas, in Mandaluyong, and in 2020, we were also in Makati. Given that footprint, you can imagine, Grace, when transportation was stopped, there was really no way to get to the office. And our immediate COVID reaction to it was to actually bring the site near our agent homes. And we understand our agents may be living either within Metro Manila or in the fringes of Metro Manila. And that's where we immediately put up a lot of microsites. And by a lot of microsites, BPOs are used to building sites that are 900, 1,000, 2,000 seats in scale, in size, because that's how our business works. Our business works based on scale. But knowing then the risks that people face and really going by a very human-centric design, looking at what people want more than what the business needs, what we did was to actually create 3 or 4 microsites around the fringes of the metro. And by the fringes of the metro, wala siya sa Metro Manila, pero it's residing right outside of Metro Manila. Places like Cavite, Rizal, and up north, at the edges of Quezon City. Yun yung ginawa namin so that we're bringing more the sites to the people rather than asking people to go to the site. So if I fast forward from that time to now, the business is totally different. I think it's very clear, and there are a lot more knowns now than unknowns. So we've actually felt, and I'll probably call it a roller coaster ride, right? We probably felt like we were on our way to losing business, to gaining so much business that we couldn't take in the demand. And then at a certain point now, as it kind of moves into the new normal, with a lot more knowns in the equation, I think we have an understanding of how our business is actually going to unfold in the next few years. So I think that's how the journey for us has been, Grace.
Well, that's good to know. And not only that, it's very overwhelming to understand, working from home, all right, and also delivering PCs to 200 or more, maybe more than 200 manpower under 24/7 AI, all right? So it's really about reaching out also to this manpower to help out. And not only that, I check, number 4. So, of course, the goal is always going to number 1. So how are you going to do that? Especially, again, we're still in pandemic, right? We can check also that the rate is still going up. Before, when we had the 5,000, it shut down. And now, if I'm not mistaken, like 6,000 going to 7,000. So how are you going to do that? Making it to number 1.
All right. Thanks for that, Grace. And you're right. The goal is always to be the number 1 in that stack rank. But I think also, I credit my guys, my teams, and the folks that work in 24/7 for even getting us to number 4. I always look at 24/7 as we're punching a higher weight class, and by that, I'm a fan of Manny Pacquiao, and he was fighting in weight categories that he probably wasn't even supposed to be in, right? And I feel that 24/7 is the same. You look at the top 10 list, and we're probably a company of about 4,800 people. Our footprint is Metro Manila and Pampanga. But you look at the other companies that are there in the top 3, top 10 list, and those companies are of large scale, like, ultra large scale companies, right? So I'm really proud that we've reached number 4. To even inch into, number 3 or number 2 in the next few years would be totally, we definitely would take a lot of 24/7 pride with us in doing that. Now, the second part of your question, how to reach, how to improve in terms of our people engagement or being number 1, I think we stick to our core. And by that, I think the crisis has told us that as leaders, it was not anymore about harmonizing the different stakeholders of the company. Sanay tayo dun eh. As leaders, we looked at the different stakeholders, our clients, our customers, our board, and then our people. And then we said, how do I make everybody happy? That's the job of us as leaders, di ba? But that has totally shifted, and I think the way to move up in that stack rank, and I think what the crisis has taught us as leaders is hindi na siya balancing act between the 4 or 5, because today you have to put your people and you have to put your designs, and by designs all of your processes, all of your systems, where you have your workforce in the middle, right? Dati everyone was balanced, kailangan masaya lahat. Now you make your workforce first and foremost really ultra happy, and by that their happiness is not just today about, pay, about their teammates. It's really all about understanding how they manage through their own risks, how they manage through their own health and safety. And by that, they're not alone. Company's not alone. It's really a partnership between them and us. And by that, you need to have continuous discussion, and you need to be a company that actually goes and is willing to talk and willing to listen to people. And I think you layer on top of that all of the principles today that is needed to promote a company that holds diversity and inclusion the highest. I think we're probably on our way to, maybe we'll inch up to number 3 or number 2 in the next few years. So I think those are the things that my team's working on, and those are the things that I think, we go to the job market and we tell them, this is the experience you're going to have when you're with 24/7. So that's what we're doing, Grace.
Okay, so happiness, going to number 2, or let's say number 3 to number 2, it's all about happiness. Actually, I'm happy right now you're here with us. Okay, but then again, when we're talking about BPO, a lot of people are talking about also the benefits, and that makes them happy. So what's the benefits that you think making them super, super happy?
So I think when you join 24/7, one of the things, of course, on top of what I've already spoken about in terms of our own ability to manage through health risks, your own safety, in 24/7, we go by what the employee or what our applicant really actually wants to do. And by that, someone comes up to us and says, I want to work from home. I will deploy you to work from home. If someone says, I want to work on site, and you'll be surprised, Grace, despite all of the health risks, there are people who will still say, hey, I prefer to work on site. I love people interaction. I understand the health risks, but I actually also want to make sure I fulfill the social part of my being, right? Which is I want to be in an environment where I'm around my leader and I'm around my teammates. And so in conversation and in application and in discussion with people, we actually make sure we're putting people where they want to be. So I think that's first and foremost, I guess what we try to do and how we make sure people are happy with their work life, right? I think the next part of it is still going back to culture and people. My promise to people in 24/7 is always when they join 24/7, they will just find some of the best leaders and some of the best teammates they will ever meet. We spend a lot of time working on our culture. And by culture, we look at people's behaviors. We look at what is acceptable and not acceptable behaviors. That's the only way for you to actually differentiate as an organization. If you can go out to the market and say you just have an amazing culture and the experience is going to be amazing to people, I think that's the promise that makes people not just join, but more importantly, Grace, I think it's stay with your company. Today, my retention rates of people run at about 95 to 96% a month. So I have people that want to be in the company, want to grow, want to continuously learn, want to make a career, and for some of them even find the love of their lives in the company. So that's the kind of culture that we have.
That's the happiness, I think, Rienzie, right? Finding also love in the company and amazing culture you mentioned, and putting people where they want to be. Okay, we heard so much about BPO, business process outsourcing. So what's the difference, BPO and KPO?
Oh, so I think today and for many years, the bucketing of BPO or business process outsourcing and KPO or knowledge process outsourcing has always been a function of where the knowledge resides, right? So for KPO and for a lot of the work in KPO, whether it is in financial, accounting, I guess market research, all of that work, they've basically pushed the knowledge of how to do the process already to the outsourcer, to companies like ourselves. For business process outsourcing, and whether the process rather that they push is core or non-core, it's possible that the client will still own up to the entire knowledge of how to do it, right? So typically, and because business processes that are outsourced are typically of scale, and when you think of scale, you're thinking about 5,000, 6,000 people. For the most part, clients want to make sure they still have some control over what they do. Now, BPO and KPO is probably a thing of the past. Like, it's probably, 24/7 is on our 18th year here in country. And BPO has probably been around for, close to 25 years now. And the space that 24/7 is moving into is actually what we call CCaaS, or Customer Experience as a Service. I was listening to Marjorey earlier and how, she's actually expanded just the idea of being a logistics partner to being end-to-end. She said, pati sales fulfillment and sales follow-up, kami na rin gagawa. In Customer Experience as a Service, we actually take your customer and start to own up to the customer and all of the services as it relates to managing to your customer, whether it is solving the contact, eliminating the contact, following up on fulfillment, and so on and so forth. We actually will go end to end, cover everything that's needed on it. And it being a service, then now we actually put that entire service on the cloud, which means like your Grab, Foodpanda, Uber, you can turn us on and off as much as you want. So if you like the service, then you continue to actually take the customer experience as a service from 24/7. If you don't like the service, you can turn it off like any cloud. Hopefully you don't turn it off because that's our service. But that's exactly the space that we're getting into. If you think about that and how we understand BPO and KPO, if you fuse BPO and KPO together, the core processes of the business, the knowledge of how to do it, and then layer technology on top of it, that itself is actually customer experience, like in a box. Like you open up the box and you say, this is the company that will provide customer experience. That's where we're headed, Grace.
All right, so thank you, Rienzie. We're going to continue that in a panel discussion, all right? So, but first, I would like to give thanks again to our sponsors, Cafe Lupe in Antipolo. Don't forget to visit, of course, Casa Alegria in Tagaytay. Now we're going to open the panel discussion, all right? So I think I'd like to start with Marjorey, but the question is for everyone. How important is your industry right now in the Philippine economy? Because the four of you from different industry, of course, we have BPO, we have logistics, we have our retail, and we have, of course, services. I would say with Marjorey, of course, also with everyone involved also in services. Okay, Marjorey, what's the how important is your industry in the Philippine economy?
Right now, I would say I'm very happy. That is very important in the Philippine industry because we all know that the e-commerce industry is huge. So it's one of the major drivers of the e-commerce industry. And actually, it's not just for e-commerce, Grace. It also serves for other, not just for e-commerce, but I think it's part of each and every business. May it be retail, may it be food. So we are catering nga ngayon to everything. Like we have hauling, we have the food business. We also cater even to schools. So logistics is really part of the supply chain. So everything that has to be transferred is part of it.
Okay, so thank you so much, Marjorey. RJ, how important is your industry in the Philippine economy?
Well, allow me to redefine Mercato Central, and I've explained this many, many times. From the standpoint of people who go there, it's a food market. But from our perspective, we are a small food business incubator. In other words, our job is to provide venues, the marketing support, the operational support for small businesses to thrive in venues where they would not normally be allowed. So kunyari, paano sila makaka-access sa SM by the Bay or sa Glorieta or these different places. And through our market, we're able to provide them that access. Having said that, alam natin na 99.5% of the businesses in the Philippines are micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs. So really our job is to be a bridge to help support the growth of these small businesses by being a business incubator. Sa mga tech startup, may mga incubator setups. So kumbaga, we are the incubator setup, but this time around, for the small food businesses. So that's why I think we're kind of key, because one of the lowest hanging fruits when it comes to the food business is to getting into business is food, because that's one of the first skills, earliest skills to develop. So I think we're essential as a start. Parang kumbaga, we are the starter kit for them to begin their business.
All right. So thank you so much, RJ. So how about you, Rienzie? How important is your business or the industry in the Philippine economy?
I think for a lot of you who probably aren't in BPO yet or not connected to BPO, BPO today is probably 9% of the economy. And that's huge. I think under any standard, just imagining 9% of the economy, that's super significant. I think a second reason why we're super important in understanding, Forex rates today, BPO is a dollar earner. So we bring in Forex. And because of that, then it becomes very important in keeping the exchange rates. The other is, and the most important is, of course, we're employing almost 1.5 million people today. And 1.5 million people with almost maybe $500 million of investments coming from a lot of the companies that have put up large scale centers. You're talking about just pumping up consumption in the economy. So by way of importance in the economy, you look at employment, consumption, and investment, and then the contribution to foreign exchange, that basically completes our contribution. So.
Okay, so thank you, Rienzie. Going back to RJ, you discussed about incubator. Not everyone has an idea about what incubator is. Kindly discuss more about it.
Well, if you look at the incubator setup, let's say for example in the tech industry, and I'm sure Marge is very familiar with this one, being in that industry yourself, is that if you go to the tech business, let's say you've got a really great idea for a business as an entrepreneur, but you don't have the skill sets. Let's say you don't have the software developers, you don't have the marketing know-how, but you have the entrepreneurial drive and the passion to see it through. An incubator is where you go to pick up all the different skill sets or to train together people to help you gain those skill sets for their company. And as an added bonus, some of them can connect you to venture capitalists or investors to help you grow the business. So the same thing for us. For many people for food, they know how to make the food, but sometimes they help in making the concept a bit more unique, because sometimes it's not very differentiated yung pagkain nila. Lahat sila, shawarma, pizza, pasta, takoyaki, milk tea, pare-pareho yung mga konsepto. So yung trabaho namin bilang incubators to help them differentiate their concepts a bit more, develop their unique selling propositions, and also to be able to market them better, help them, provide them better operations assistance. In fact, Mercato Central, we've developed a Mercato Academy to teach people step by step on how to do even the basic things like good financial housekeeping, how to position your brand online, because these are the things that they need to be able to grow the business.
Okay, Mercato Academy, it's super nice to understand more maybe about it. Is it free? Is it going to be offered online?
Right now, we had free classes in the midst of the pandemic. We're just retweaking it again for the new normal so that we can offer a set of both free classes and also by subscription classes, so people can learn a bit more on how to be able to grow their food business. But we're always very happy to help a lot of people, come up with good concepts so that they can grow the business.
That's right. So, of course, we're still in pandemic. What are the biggest challenges that you experienced during this pandemic? I'm gonna start it again with you since you're here with me. Yeah,
okay.
Ahead, RJ, yeah.
So the pandemic really, as I explained earlier in my presentation, one of the biggest problems really that we had to close everything down, right? And our business exists, night food markets really are an experiential market. So for you, there are two choices. I mean, when you disrupt and you have to think differently about the business. One is, okay, how can I operate again to deliver that same sort of experience which customer wanted before the pandemic? So one of the ways that we did it was developing our Mercato United Cloud Kitchen, where basically we put together into one physical venue all the different vendors, because before it's all al fresco, so they were all in different areas. So we created the Cloud Kitchen. Other way to solve it was creating an online app. So we're able to aggregate all these small food vendors in a virtual food market instead of having it in an actual food market. And then the last one is obviously, of course, figuring out again, how do you operate in the new normal? So it's a matter of, how do you work within the parameters of the IATF protocols and mandates? And that's how we resume the business. And of course, it's still a learning process. Digital marketing and e-commerce is important, but of course, we have to figure out the model which works best for us. There's no one size, as Bex will tell you, there's no one size fits all for everything. You have to customize it. So for our customers as well, we have to learn how to better customize. So, if Rienzie or Marj has better solutions on how to develop it, it's great. In fact, Marj and I are part of the upcoming Alibaba Netpreneur training program, so we can be able to better develop our business for the e-commerce landscape.
That's nice, continuing education.
All the time.
For the Alibaba.
That's the humility that entrepreneurs need moving forward. Sabi ni Gerry kanina, you've got to be humble to move forward.
That's right, and also to learn more, of course, to innovate more. And for Rienzie, so what's the problem? Did you experience any problem with regards to hiring during pandemic?
I think on top of what I mentioned earlier, definitely there was a meltdown in terms of hiring. Our hiring methods were always traditionally draw them into the office and then from there process them. In the same way, what we did instantly, I would probably say in about a week and a half, was to actually virtualize all of our recruitment processes. So today, if you actually want to be recruited, right in the comforts of your own home, while you're sitting back, while you're watching Netflix, etc., you can pick up the phone. You can hit us up on Facebook Messenger. We will reply to you on Facebook Messenger. From there, we'll process you and give you the tools, give you the assessments, and then right in the comforts of your home, we'll even give you a job offer. So that's how we've actually virtualized our recruitment process. Not to say it's been very easy. In the same way, there are a lot of challenges in doing that. But our business is based on that. Our business is based on being able to recruit people, making them go to office or get them deployed to work from home. And maybe it took us a week and a half, 2 weeks to do it, but I think we're very successful in at least fulfilling our clients' requirements. If I could just add grace to what was maybe complex or difficult during the crisis, I think it was mostly the flow of information. And whether it was what are the new business rules, what are the new government restrictions, I think if there was something to be learned from the crisis, we need infrastructure, we need support that basically clarifies for us and tells us in a single stream what are the new business regulations or what are the new government requirements. No one is wishing that the pandemic will happen again, but just in case it does, I think if we had a better flow of information, like a single version of the truth and how to do things, I think businesses will thrive and survive the crisis better.
Oh, it's nice to know. Oh, for Marjorey. Okay, Marjorey, right now, if I'm not mistaken, you have 40 to 60 manpower. Did you had any problem in hiring during pandemic?
No. Actually, it's one of the things that we're grateful, because in pandemic we were able to give more jobs, and there's a lot of pool actually for and some of them have been laid off out of work, so we were able to get a lot of good applicants.
That's right. One question for you, because you mentioned also last time, it's about hiring family members. And I love actually the explanation that if you're going to help out, of course, help first those people around you. How are you going to tell it to other companies, especially for SMEs?
Well, in my case, okay, it's a case-to-case basis. In my case, kasi I think the vision was clear for me and my sisters and my brother. So in our company, it's quite a culture that we have relatives here who's working with us. And the reason behind that is because when we started, we weren't really able to offer a lot for the, you know, the regular, the standard, the standard companies who are offering better pay. So I think in other companies or in new entrepreneurs, you can also consider at some point, no, sabi nga nila, but this is reality, you know, the hardest people to work with would be your family members.
Super different, super difficult also. But don't forget, Gerry Santos also employs, of course, the daughter and the son.
Yes.
The president, you know, part of the team. Right.
I think one thing that we should just remember is that, yes, it's hard because there will always be a thin line between being relatives and being bosses and, you know, and employees. But one thing that should be clear is that we are doing this for the legacy of our next generation. So I think if it's clear within the family that everything should be given out as a, you know, as a sacrifice, as some sort of vision for everyone, I think mamamanage naman tong matter. You know, and one key, okay, for some who have been working with their family members, what I do is they don't report directly to me. So I have other key people who's working over them para yung, kumbaga, yung line of operations is not gonna be biased. So, and I'm always, we are very transparent. I think that's also one reason. You should set a mindset to all the employees as well that, you know, even if this is a family business, there should always be a line of the hierarchy of authority.
Yes. I agree with you. Somebody also needs to lead the family members. Kasi baka pag tayo, something like that, no? Ate, hello. It's very hard also. There's also a difficulty. There's also what advantage and disadvantage. So there are so many logistic company right now, and we saw that they're really big here in the Philippines. So what's the difference? What set your company from them apart?
Okay, so that's a very good question. Actually, kanina nga yung sinabi ni Rienzie. By the way, Rienzie, I worked for 24/7 before. First batch ng dish. So I love the company. I am a BPO product, by the way. I've been with BPOs for 25 years. I spent most of my years in the BPO industry. So I understand everything. And most of if you notice, no, why our company is tailored like that, it's because I got all the experience and the concept from BPOs. So I just wanted to say it. And also, yung sinabi nga ni RJ, no, incubation, kaya kami magkasundo ni RJ because we want to support a lot of MSME. Because ang ginawa ko kasi, Ma'am Grace, no, before, sabi ko, if this concept is proved, then I can replicate it with other companies. And logistics for me is just an avenue. Actually, Bex is gonna be more than a logistics company. This is how I see Bex being positioned in the market. Just for everyone to understand. So Bex Logistics is our core company. We started with Bex Logistics, but we are expanding to 2 more companies, which is Bex Franchise and Bex Worldwide. And the other 2 will have a different, it's a different avenue of revenue stream. So it's a different avenue of market share, because we want to make sure that we are creating an ecosystem which will really push the entire, I'm hoping, no, the entire economy. Sabi nga nila, I remembered someone asking me, sino ka ba? No, when we were pitching 2 years back to one of our clients, it's a huge company, and said, sino ba tong Bex na to? Parang if we are going to align them with the other players, why would we give our business to you? So I see that there's a lot of players, but you will always excel in where you're good at. And we are honestly good at sourcing. We're very good also in backing up our business development with market research and market analysis, because that's what we have. And customer service. Ayan, kaya fan ako ng BPO, of course. I came from that industry. We are customer centric. Our levels of customer service is different. You can look us up in Facebook. We have maintained a 5-star rating kasi it's hard to please everyone. You cannot please everyone. And but it's always good that you have to give out your best, no? Para yung difference namin is at the customer service level. That's why we have after sales support. Nagulat nga ibang clients namin. Sabi nila, kaya niyong gawin yun? Can you also do that for me? Ngayon po, we don't have Autobots who's answering in our chat support. We dedicate people. We have live agents who are answering to them up until now. Kasi we want to make sure that real time we get the concerns that they have. Ayaw namin, of course, alam ni Rienzie yan, ayaw natin at the end of the day will be answered by someone robotic, someone's an answering machine. So, ayoko yan kasi 25 years, yan lang yung umikot sa isip ko. So, that is what makes Beck stand out. We are very customer-centric. We are based on what the customers needs. Kaya nga doon pumasok yung customization. Kasi we want to make sure at the end of the day, they will be happy with our services.
So it is
if I can just add lang kay Marge, for the franchising, that's where the ecosystem works. We're actually working with Marge, my company Easy Franchise, to help them. They're part of their business plan, the strategies to scale the business. And so our job naman is they worry about the business. We worry about scaling their business for them. So for people who are interested to turn their business into a franchise but don't know how, or have a franchise but don't know how to scale it properly, that's the irritation which I handle.
All right, so thank you so much for that addition, RJ, about franchising. All right, so okay, we're just going to have 2 more questions. As much as we want to have like 10 or 20 with RJ, with Rienzie, and Marjorey, that I know that they can answer all well. So kita nyo naman, di ba? So these are the 2 questions. So the same as what I asked kanina to Gerry, who inspires you, and your message to the future CEOs. Okay, RJ, those questions.
I think for me, the first one, my first inspiration as an entrepreneur really came from my dad. He was the original entrepreneur for me. Kasi yung talaga mindset, he's had his ups and downs and ups and downs. He's been in several businesses. Pero nakita ko sa kanya yung positive mindset when it comes to it, and then how to work across adversity. And that sometimes kailangan akseptado mo na that adversity and the ups and downs are really a part of that entrepreneurial life. Because there'll be times that you're down, but hindi mo pwede, ito mahirap, the mental health of an entrepreneur, hindi mo pwede dibdibin yung, alam ni Marge, nag-yes siya, because, pati Grace, I'm sure alam mo rin yan, di ba? Hindi mo pwede dibdibin yung mga problema sa trabaho, di ba? Because you will encounter it anyway. And I guess it's the way that you're able to face it which is important. Kaya lagi sinasabi ni Angela Duckworth sa grit, di ba? Grit is passion and perseverance over the long term despite adversity, despite the ups and downs. So that's one of the first things I learned. It's my dad is the first entrepreneur which I learned from. The next one is really my wife. My wife, who, just like Mars, I want to add earlier, I work with my wife as a family business, and I bring it to my dad, which is a family business, and which is great because you get to see how to run family businesses. You get to see what worked and what didn't work. Para sa akin naman, it's okay to have a family member join the business if they have the skill set or the competency to do it. At kung wala, that they are willing to train to develop that skill set that they can to be there. Wala dapat entitled na magiging family. If you watch, I don't know if you watch the show called Succession sa HBO Max, yung isang anak dyan, hindi siya dapat maging kasama sa kumpanya, but just because he is a son. Si Rienzie is saying yes because he watches the show, so I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, that yung character ni Culkin, di ba? That's how you place the character over there. So you don't want that for your company. So for me, it's my wife because she built her own skill set. She was a law graduate. She took up Masters of Entrepreneurship. She's a much better operations and finance person than I'll ever be. She's the CEO of the company. I am, and I stick with project development, marketing, and strategy, which is my specialty. And last but not the least, who really inspire me right now are my board of advisors. Along my board of advisors, kasi we are very lucky. We have on board one of our professors there. His name is Professor Andy Ferreria, who is the president of the Ateneo Center for Entrepreneurship. Really great teacher. Parang second father na rin namin yan. He helped us really see through the business during the hardest times, helped us redevelop our business model. At the same time, my other entrepreneur idol there is Jose Magsaysay of Potato Corners, also part of our board advisor. He's also one of our part owners of Mercato Central. And he really helped me rethink the business. He keeps us on our toes. So the last thing I want to share with people, you have to be with people who are better with you. You have to be with people who inspire you to do the business. And you have to be with other entrepreneurs. Kasi kung hindi mo kasama yung mga entrepreneurs sa negosyo, and alam ni Marge, because she's an entrepreneur like in my size, they'll put you down sometimes because people who don't understand entrepreneurship, ay, kagaguhan naman yan. Ay, hindi mo alam kung ano ginagawa mo. Matatalo ka lang dyan because they're very used to that 9 to 5 mentality. They're very used to, I'm employed mentality. I need that one. They are unsure of the uncertainty of entrepreneurship. That's why you have to surround yourself with very good entrepreneurs because there's a formula for entrepreneurship. It's not written down. And it's not also something that you can see in books. It's a matter of exposure to other better entrepreneurs than you for you to be able to grow your business.
Okay, so thank you so much. Of course, it's always about inspiring people, and you inspire us always, RJ. For Rienzie, yeah. Rienzie, 4,800 people, if I'm not mistaken, okay? So then, during the pandemic, you mentioned before, 200 people you sent out and gave the PCs to work from home. So, how do you lead them successfully? It's very hard, 4,800 people, and you're the country head.
Oh, I think I don't think there's a different formula for leading an organization, whether you're an organization of 50 people or 4,000. I think you lead it with your heart first. Everything is taught, right? When you go to business school, I went to school with RJ, so I can't do answers as good as him. You listen to what he's saying, and everything that RJ is saying, I understand, and we hear that, we listen to that. But I don't think there's something that I don't think leaders are able to lead with their heart first if that's not innate in them. There are some leaders out there who lead with business first, lead with profits first. I think Gerry was super inspiring when he said, it's not about ROI, it's not about money anymore. It's about people, and it's about what you give back first. Whether you have a company of 50 people earning a certain amount of money, or 4,800 people earning a certain amount of money, if as a leader you don't know how to give back because all you worry about is, I think I have a quote out here that describes worry, and all you worry about is business grow and how to grow your business. I don't think it's sustainable. We know all businesses have gone through crisis, have gone through the last 2 years, and the next few months is going to be a big bounce back. Whether you're in logistics, whether you're in food, this bounce back is going to be massive. People are going to be out. They will want to spend, and businesses will again thrive. I'm not going to say stop worrying, but look forward to that point in our story where businesses will bounce back big time. And when that happens, leaders just need to know how to give back. If you lead with your heart, that will flow so naturally. And again, size does not matter. What matters will be what is innate in you and what you really want to do. So I think that's my view on it, Grace.
Okay, so bouncing back big time in after 2 months, something like that, right? So yeah, I'm sure. But then again, we're still in pandemic, and then the virus. There's a new so much variants already that I cannot mention anymore. Oh my gosh, Rienzie. So, but then again, who inspires you?
Oh, I think I'll have the same answers as RJ. My family inspires me. So, I learned a lot of hard work from my dad. My dad is a first generation entrepreneur. He built his business from nothing to something, and that's how I've been able to go to school. And because of that to me is truly inspiring. So the model of hard work for me is my dad. And I'm tough on myself because he was tough on himself in order for him to be able to put us through school. So that's inspiring for me. Like RJ, inspiring also to me is my family, right? I look at my kids, and my kids are 17 and 15, and they're on their way to joining the workforce in the next few years. And that's the consumer that we have in the future. That's the workforce we have in the future. I can see Marjorey agreeing, and that's because that's probably the staff that she's hiring too. So Marjorey, if my kids need work soon, I'll I'll call you. And so they inspire me because how they are today is the set of things that entrepreneurs think about in the future. So that's inspiring to me. I think I'll just add to that. Of course, my my living inspiration is I'm the generation of Jeff Bezos. So everything that he's done about Amazon and what and all the amazing things he's written about, I read up on that. And then, of course, the legacy of Steve Jobs is something that's going to be forever inspiring for me, and I'm sure for a lot of my peers. So those are my influences. And if there's anything that I do in business, it's probably bouncing around, those 3 or 4 influences, guys. Thank you.
Okay, so those are our influences too. And now with Rienzie, Ramirez with us. All right, so for Marjorey, your last message.
So I would say to everyone who's watching, may you be an entrepreneur or not, I think there are 3 points that I would like to highlight today. Number 1 is you have to be resilient. So regardless if you're not an entrepreneur or not, you really have to be resilient. Yung sinasabi nga ni RJ nun it kind of instilled in my mind when he said, if you're an entrepreneur, lalo na ngayon, no, you set and then you aim, and then you set again and then you aim. So you fire, you aim, you fire, you aim. So it's like that. So parang that was something na pinanghawakan ko. Because there are times na talagang nahihilo na ako. I would say it's crazier than ever. Like when you grow, and if you go drastically, like in our case, parang mahihilo ka eh. Sometimes you would say, would I need to slow down? But however, the things that you have on your plate right now, parang hindi ka pwede mag-slow down. Why? Because there are others who are already looking up to you. Not just looking up to you, but they rely on what you can do. And for us, for me, being resilient is something like that. And usually you see this, of course, with mothers, with parents. You're resilient kasi kahit na ilang changes, ilang struggles yung maranasan mo, you will always get back on your feet. Hindi pwedeng iyak ka pero tayo ka ulit. Pero iyak ka, tatayo ka ulit. And then number 2, you should always be positive. Of course, support your, you need to have positive relationships with people around you. Napakahalaga ng support group, not just with your family, but tama yung sinabi ni Arjun and Rienzie, dapat maraming nakapaligid sa'yo ng mga tao who also has the same vision, the same positivity. Hindi ka pwede na lumaban sa gera na to na ang mindset mo lagi kang mananalo. Okay? You cannot...
Nakaka-inspire naman si Marge dyan. Tama ka dyan, Marge.
Diba? Hindi ka pwedeng magkaroon ng mindset. When you asked me earlier, Ma'am Ray, sabi ko, ang dami kong kakompetensya. There are already big names in the industry that I'm going head-to-head with. Isama na natin si Amazon, But on your mind, you cannot just say that I will win this. On your mind, you have to continuously tell yourself, marami kang adversities, marami ka pang madadaanan, but you have to be open. Why? Because you have to understand and to know how it works for you to get in the middle of it and, level up with them. So I think that's number 2, you have to be positive. Hindi pwede na pabagsak ang isip mo. Pag bumagsak ka, tayo ka ulit. Out of 100 people, there will always be one person who's gonna believe you. And then, you should always be doing it for a purpose. So, yung sinabi ni Rienzie, leaders are born with a heart. Hindi pwede talaga. I have been offered, after we came out to the, to the public and all, I have been offered numerous times. Buyout. I have been offered to be a consultant, the CEO of a different company, but I continued to decline it. Why? Because there's a purpose why we're doing this business. I can always say, sige, sara ko to, tayo ako ng bago, I can get the profit out of it. Because the concept is way, way higher than, the benefit that you're gonna get. But at the end of the day, because we consider working with parents, with solo parents, with people with disabilities, what's important for us is the purpose. Why are you doing this business? Do you just want money? And I will say it paulit-ulit. I am very contented with what I have. I am contented that for once, I was given a shot and I was able to make something out of it. I am contented that my son is able to go to therapies, that we are able to be fed because of the business that we have right now. And we have employees. But, for me, at the end of the day, it's no longer about the valuation of the company. It's no longer about the money that we're going to squeeze out of this business. No. At the end of the day, you cannot bring it all when you're gone. No? So at the end of the day, we want to see this legacy continuing in the next coming years. That one day, people will remember that, you know, there are leaders who are born na talagang they dedicated themselves to make things better for everyone. And I am not running for a senatorial post, but what I'm saying is that, you know, I just strongly believe, Ma'am Grace, that if you are always living with a purpose, the Lord will always show you and make a way for the things to happen. Even the most, sabihin natin, hindi ka panipaniwala na situation, which I have been always a testimony, no, to everyone, that we came very small and now, kung nasaan po kami, really, we owe it to the Lord, of course, but also the people that surrounds us. Eh. Kasi nga ako, I'm so glad that I'm brought into this network. You know, I can talk to RJ, I can talk to Jason, so I have a lot of new friends and also new people who have inspired me, who have inspired me for the last couple of months.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, to all our speakers, to all those who watch us till the end. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Rienzie, Ramirez, of course, of 24/7 AI, Marjorey, Rubio, of Bex Logistics Incorporated, Gerry Santos of Mr. Freeze Tube Eyes, and of course, RJ Ledesma of Mercato Central. This is Grace Bondad Nicolas for the Manila Times Asia Leaders Forum. Till the next time, thank you so much.
Sign up for a year and pay less than 71 pesos per month. Visit tmt.ph/premium to get your free 30 days of the Manila Times Premium.